A few weeks ago this month, it was the 10-year anniversary of the Lego Movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. And I really wanted to do a video just talking about how great it is, just like gushing about it because I love this movie so much. I was excited to be watching it. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a great video. And the plan was this month I would do the Happy Time Murders video, get that out of the way, and do that like late March, early February, and then boom, do the Lego Movie. However, if you've seen the Happy Time Murders video, please do if you haven't, check it out. Then you would know that I got sick and that video ended up getting delayed, and it felt like a nightmare to just have to talk about that. And yeah, that happened. Then once I finally finished that, I was just like, I missed the anniversary for the Lego Movie. Maybe I won't do the video. But then I realized I spent the previous video, that being the Happy Time Murders video. Again, please check that out. Talking about one of my least favorite movies of all time. So I feel just to counterbalance that or whatever, next video I talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is the Lego Movie. And man, I absolutely am very excited to talk about this movie. I loved it ever since I was a kid, and it is the movie that is just so fantastic, and just like, oh my god, it makes me so happy just rewatching it and talking about it. So yeah, oh man, this is happening. But like, yes, Lego Movie, I'm super excited to talk about it. Also, it definitely should have been nominated for like best animated feature at the Oscars of its year. Like, why? What the hell, Oscars? Why didn't you do that? But anyway, yeah, Lego Movie. Can't wait to talk about it. So the Lego Movie came out in 2014, and it was the first movie under Warner Brothers' new animation studio for theatrical films, Warner Animation Group. I believe it's called something different now, but this was like essentially what they were called back then, and this was their new animation studio. If you don't know, they had made animated movies before in the past, but after the, I think, financial failure of Osmosis Jones, I think, and Looney Tunes Back in Action, it was shut down, whatever that previous one was called. I'll look into it later. And so this was their comeback with Warner Animation Group, and their first movie was going to be the Lego Movie. And what a great first film to start out with, honestly. Yeah, pretty darn cool. And so when the trailer for this movie came out, I was super excited for it. And if you see other people's videos talking about the Lego Movie, like retrospectives and whatnot, they'd say something like, back then no one really believed this movie would be good because people thought it was just gonna be a giant commercial. But here's the thing. When this trailer came out, I was a child that like ate anything up, anything animated. I saw the Nut Job in theaters, guys. Okay, so really my standards were not high back then, and so I was personally excited for it. I didn't really see it as like a giant commercial as other people probably would assume it would have been, because like I was stupid. But I saw the trailer, I thought, ooh, that looks like fun, and I'm excited for that. And guess what? The movie turned out to be really good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. And hey, look at that. This is one of those movies that is actually still good many years later after I've grown up and have grown my taste a bit. Mostly like have better taste now. Mostly. But yes, Lego Movie. It is a phenomenal film, and I am so excited to talk about it. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be so good. However, I should say this one quick thing before I get to talking about the Lego Movie. It's that I will be praising Phil Lord and Chris Miller a few times throughout the video. It's like, look, I think they did an amazing job directing this movie, and they had a really good vision for what they wanted this movie to be, and they're a big reason of why a lot of their work, I'm a big fan of a lot of the stuff they have made. The 21 Jump Street movies, they directed those. Cloudy with Chance of Meatballs, Cloudy with Chance of Meatballs 2, they've also directed those. Clone High, the show that they had created for MTV, that show is really good, especially that first season. The revival, I think, is still pretty, that's a whole other story. The Clone High, I think, is hilarious, and they were producers and helped with a lot of the development on the Spider-Verse movies. Those movies are amazing. I think they might even be my favorite animated movies of all time. But if you know about the way they do things, it's not that great, honestly. It was revealed last year, I believe, that like during the production of Across the Spider-Verse, Phil Lord was basically overworking the animators and did a bunch of stuff like they didn't have like the whole story planned out, and so they were basically animating as they were going along, and they put a lot of stress on the animators, and that is not awesome. Even though the movie still turned out amazing and I still love it, I do feel like there should have been a better way to go about it than what they did do. And I don't know if that same method of working was also in their previous works, like the Lego Movie. From the research that I've done, I can't seem to find anything that says so, but there is still a chance they might have done something similar. But still, it's like, yeah, basically what I'm saying is that's not great. So while I am still a fan of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, like the stuff they have made, like their art, my respect for them as artists has kind of gone down a bit. So while I will still be like saying positive things about what they did for this movie, you know, with this movie and whatnot, I'll also go ahead and like try to credit like all the other people, like a bunch of other creatives in this movie that helped make it as good as it is. For example, Phil Lord and Chris Miller wrote the screenplay for this movie and came up with a story, but also helping them with the story were Dan Hagerman and Kevin Hagerman, who have worked on things like the Ninjago animated series, I believe, and the Troll Hunter series on Netflix. And I gotta say, man, I really like the story. And oh yeah, spoilers. If you haven't seen the Lego movie yet, it's been like 10 years. Come on, like just watch it. It's amazing. Go watch it. This movie kind of has like your typical, oh, the chosen one story. This one unlikely guy is like destined to save the world. But there is a little bit of a twist to it, which I'll get into a bit later. And so the main story follows Emmett. He is a construction worker in this like world where everything is Lego. Everyone's a Lego minifigure and everything's made out of Legos. It's great stuff. And the world seems to be under the control of President Business, who makes a lot of great stuff according to Emmett, like dairy products, TV shows, music, all of history books, voting machines, security cameras. You know, nothing suspicious, obviously. And so yeah, but basically it's also like I guess this sort of like not post-apocalyptic, but like somewhat dystopian type of world where like one guy's in control of everything, but like everyone seems to be generally happy, but it seems to be not perfect because President Business is actually pretty darn evil, if you didn't already tell by some of the suspicious stuff that his corporation makes. And he's actually Lord Business, and he plans to use this device called the Kraggle to like take over the world. What the Kraggle is, I'll get into that a bit later. And so like Emmett, he's the one who is I guess destined to save the world, you know, right? And he gets like a piece of resistance, a piece that can like that gets attached to his back, and is the one thing that can stop the Kraggle. And so like there are these other people called the Master Builders who essentially try to help him get to there. And like Master Builders are people who can make stuff out of anything, you know, right? They're like basically like the resistance. They're rebels, and they can make anything without needing instructions. And it seems to be like a lot of famous like characters are like Master Builders. You got like Batman, you got Superman, Green Lantern, Shaquille O'Neal, Michelangelo, all that stuff. And so yeah, so it's basically like, hey, a hero's journey. Like he starts out like this, like the unlikely guy. No one believes in him, but he gets, you know, stronger as the story goes on. He becomes smarter, and he is able to save the world, and he makes some friends along the way. It's, you know, that kind of story. It's kind of simplistic, but like here's the thing though, it is revealed later in the movie that this entire story that we're following is being made up by a kid with possible daddy issues, I guess, but like he is making up this story. So I feel like the simplicity kind of helps to that, honestly, because it really does feel like a kind of story a kid would make up while he's playing with his toys. And even a lot of like the story beats feel like kind of like, hey, this is what a child would like make up, and like while he's like trying to have fun, you know, right? Like there's a bunch of action sequences. A kid would do that, just do action, and then, you know, recruit some new people along the way, all like being, you know, so funny and everything. So yeah, it's like it feels very like childlike in that sense, but it really works, honestly. And it honestly makes the story feel fun. It feels like, yeah, you're watching like a kind of story that you would make up as like, you know, like you're playing with your Legos or whatever toys as a kid, and it makes it so much fun. It's so much fun. What I think also makes the story really fun is just like how funny it is. Like I was rewatching this movie, I forgot just how funny it really is. Like it's super funny. Like I found myself laughing out loud so many times throughout the movie, and I can just remember so many like fun stupid jokes that like I just like laughed at a lot. Like I just like how there are real world items, and I mean I guess Lego itself is real world, so everything's a real world item, but like they also use other non-Lego items in this world, like band-aids and like the Kraggle, which here it is. The Kraggle is like this like glue thing or something that Lord Business wants to use to basically glue everything down and make everything perfect as he wants it. No one can like mess with his stuff. And you know, that's fun. There's like a giant golf ball that destroys like Cloud Cuckoo Land at first, and like it's just like I just like seeing that stuff, and like all the stupid names they come up with it. Like he calls like Lord Business calls the band-aid Band-Aid or like something like that. And then like or like the Kraggle is like some other like brand thing, but like it's like mission like the thing like they scratched out like some of the letters, so to them it just says Kraggle. That's like fun. I like that, like the bit where like he throws the band-aid over to like one of like the robots, and then they get trapped in it, and it's like that's funny. I like Emmett screaming. Like I don't know, Chris Pratt screaming as Emmett is just really funny. Like when he's just like falling down and lands into like Old West, and it's just like on the ground now, but he's still screaming. It's like, that's really funny. It's just like, I could go on and on about a lot of fun bits. I like, oh, like a Good Cop Bad Cop played by like Liam Neeson, just throwing a chair, and then like just like every time he just gets mad, he just throws a chair, and then at one point when he like the Wild Style and Emmett just like escape, he just like throws the chair, someone like runs away so he doesn't get hit, and then they still get hit. I love that. It's just like, again, I could just go on and on with so many bits. Like the humor very much, like a lot of like the visual humor, it gives me a lot of like Clone High vibes, where it's just like quick and fast, but like also just funny with like how kind of ridiculous and silly it can be. Like it's just, I guess it makes sense that it gives off Clone High vibes because Phil Lord and Chris Miller, but I really like it. I really like the comedy in this movie. Something else that I really like in this movie are the vocal performances. It is a mostly celebrity cast, so you got like Chris Pratt, before like he was like in everything like Mario and Garfield, but like Chris Pratt in this I honestly really like. Honestly, like I think he's actually like a good voice actor, like regardless of like his like personal stuff and whatnot, and like the fact that he's like, I guess, being every iconic character now. Like back when he's just doing like just like a regular character, like someone that isn't like based on a previous thing, except like if you want to count Lego, but you get what I mean, just like an original character. He does a good job, and I like the performance he does for Emmett. He makes him like likable, and like I said, just like him screaming is just like really funny to me, and like even the emotional beats like still hit, because like I don't know, Chris Pratt does a good job. Do I feel like he needs to be the voice of a bunch of iconic characters right now, like Mario, Garfield, and I guess Mr. Pringles or whatever, but like no, I don't think he needs to be that, but you know, when he's on his own, you know, it's good stuff. Elizabeth Banks voices like Wild Style. She does a good job as well. I like Wild Style's character in this, where she's someone who wants to be like, you know, wanted to be the special, but now is like stuck with like Emmett, but then they kind of she grows to see like, hey, he actually is a really good guy, you know, like, you know, he can actually be like the hero that they need, and essentially like inspiring her, and like, you know, that's good stuff. I like it. Vitruvius, voiced by Morgan Freeman, also really fun. He's like the wise character, and I like that his staff is just a lollipop stick, you know, right, that was like bitten. That's good stuff, and like he's also really funny, especially that one bit where he like doesn't know how to say Dumbledore, and he keeps messing it up, and he goes like, yeah, no, I just got to write it down because like I'm not gonna remember that. All right, let's just go. It turns out that line was not in the script. He like actually did not know how to say, like, I guess, I don't know if it's that specific line, but just something, and he just said that in the recording booth, and they just decided to put that, and I think that was really funny. But yeah, he does a good job as Vitruvius. Will Arnett as Batman is just great. He's really funny. I love his performance. I mean, there's a reason why we got a Lego Batman movie. I'm sure there's probably more than one reason, but like I'm sure Will Arnett being great as Batman is one of them. But like, yeah, his Batman is great, really funny. Alison Brie as Unikitty, also really good. I like how bubbly and like, you know, like cute she can be, and then when she like gets mad later on, it's like, it's good stuff. I like it. Nick Offerman as Metalbeard, really great as well. Like I like Nick Offerman, like whenever he does a voice performance, it's usually just like his normal voice, although that is good, but here he like does like a pirate voice, and it's like it's really funny, honestly. Yeah, I love Metalbeard, and this like his like design of just being like this big pirate made out of like garbage and whatnot, or like just a bunch of random stuff. I mean, it's just, that's great, man. Like I love that. And there's Charlie Day as Benny. You know, he's pretty good too. Nothing amazing. Like he kind of has like one joke where he's like, oh, he's a 1980 space fan. He wants to build a spaceship, but that joke is pretty fun. And when he finally does get to make that spaceship, great stuff. And we also got Will Arnett as both, you know, Lord Business and the man upstairs, which we'll talk about in a bit. But like, he's great as Lord Business. Will Arnett, he's just, I just like him a lot in this movie. He does a good job playing this like kind of silly villain who I guess is still somewhat threatening, you know, because he does like almost win in the end. But like, you know, yeah, it's good. And his performance as the man upstairs, I will get to a bit later. But like, yeah, I love that stuff, and like I do like a bunch of like the small cameos they get. Like they got Channing Tatum as Superman, and they got like Jonah Hill as Green Lantern, basically like doing you know, like a reunion of 21 Jump Street. That's great. So yeah, it is a mostly celebrity cast, which like I know I've even talked about before, where I don't really love that a bunch of celebrities, you know, get cast in like these big animated movies, and like you know, traditional voice actors, like professional voice actors, like are not given, you know, really big roles like they should be. You know, I've talked about them before, but like I do think if the celebrities do like a really good job, and, you know, can play the characters well, then I can at least be understanding. And I think it's a good example of, yeah, I'm okay with the celebrity voice cast in this, because I think they do a really good job. And you can tell they all had like at least fun at doing these characters. Like, you know, you look at the interviews with them, you can tell that they're having a good time. And so yeah, I like them, honestly. I like them a lot. Also, if you notice a weird gap in between those two, like you know, parts, there's because randomly while filming, just an alert or something went off on my phone. So whatever that was, I'm sorry if that disrupted the flow, and so I had to record the rest. But regardless, let's continue. Oh, something else that's really good about this movie is I like the score a lot. It's by Mark Mothersbaugh, who I think did a really good job with the score. It very much like sounds like kind of like techno-y in some parts. Like, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to say describe it, because I'm not good at describing music. But look, I just think it has like a unique sound to it, and I like it, honestly. I think he was like part of like some like a band called Devo, which like I guess makes sense. I've heard some of their music, so I guess it kind of has like that kind of sound to it, but it's really good. I will admit there are some parts where, like, I don't know, this might just be me, but in some tracks it kind of sounds like you could hear a little bit of like that one like an instrumental version of Where No One Goes from like How to Train Your Dragon 2. I don't know, I think I'm just hearing things. It might not actually be there. I don't think that is, or it might not even sound anything like that, but I don't know. I swear in some parts, like I was listening to like, I think what was it, like Saloons and Wagons, that track, and like I swear I think I heard, I don't know, my mind's just probably playing tricks on me, but like, yeah, I think the score is really good. I even like listening to it. I was like listening to it as I was like walking to class the other day, you know, right? Just kind of, yeah, I just like it a lot. Oh wait, let me talk about like the animation of this movie, like the visuals, all that stuff. Oh my god, I absolutely love the way this movie looks. Everything is made out of Lego. The characters, obviously, Lego minifigures. All their environments are made out of Lego, and they even like even the non-Lego stuff still has like a nice feeling to it, because they're like real world objects. Like I guess Legos can interact with, you know, right? You know, like a golf ball, like a Band-Aid, the Craggle being just like a glue thing, all that stuff. That's great. And like something else that I really like about the details is that like that everything is made out of Lego, but even like the movements have like a sort of like what is it called, like a frame, like have a certain frame rate to it, where like they don't, like, you know, they cut the frame rate a bit to make it look as if they're actually moving, like I guess a Lego minifigure would, or like to do some of the movements that even Lego minifigures can do. You get what I mean? The frame rate is cut a bit, and like I think that's really cool, honestly. And you can sort of see that being implemented in like the Spider-Verse movies, where they also cut the frame rate in that to like simulate some of like the movements of it, like, you know, right, to make it look cool, basically. And I like how it's done here. And also, like, I love like the Lego figures themselves have like these details to them to show that, like, oh yeah, they have been played with. Like Emmett has like some scratches on his face. Benny has like his part of his helmet is like cracked a bit, and like, you know, just like stuff like that. It's like so cool. It really makes it look like, oh yeah, these are like Legos that like have been played with. They don't look squeaky clean. They, you know, have been used. And that's really cool. I love that. And I definitely think, like, you know, Phil Lord and Chris Miller had like a vision for how they wanted this movie to look, because I remember I had seen like on the special, like I had like the DVD when I was a kid, and in the special features they said they wanted people to see like those little details, you know, right? And yeah, they did a really good job simulating like these are actually Legos. Like I remember when I was a kid, everyone was kind of debating like on the school bus, just like when this movie came out, like if it was stop motion or not. And I had like some of like those behind the scenes, like you know, like I think there was like a book that I had at one point that went over the behind the scenes stuff or something, some special promotional material that they released, and I was just like, no guys, it's not like it's not stop motion, it's CG animation. It says here. Be like, no, you're lying, it's stop motion. But it wasn't. In the DVD special features, they say it's just CG, but they want to make it look as authentic to Lego as possible. So all those people on the school bus, screw you, I was right. Ha! Like, yeah, they do a really good job that, like, honestly, a person could probably be fooled that, like, this movie is, like, stop motion. It looks so good. And I think what definitely helps, like, bring that sort of stop motion feel to it is like that they got Chris McKay as like editor on this, but also a co-director. And Chris McKay is someone who has worked on shows like Robot Chicken and Moral Oral, which are stop motion. So I definitely think like his involvement probably like, I guess, like helped really, you know, get that feeling across with this movie. And fun fact, he would even go on to direct the Lego Batman movie, which pretty cool. Yeah, great stuff, great stuff. Also remember, there is a sort of romance in the movie. Emmett has like, you know, he has feelings for Wild Style, this like alt girl. Basically, she looks like an alt girl, is what I'm saying, who already has a boyfriend, and it happens to be Batman. So yeah, like a normal guy, you know, who's not that special, falling in love with an alt girl who's already taken. Story of my life. No, I'm joking. But not for real though. I do think that romance is pretty good, you know, honestly. It's kind of like simplistic, but it kind of adds to the whole, like I said, it feels like, I guess, a romance that kid would make up, you know, right? Just kind of like the physical contact that is in this movie is holding hands, so, you know, I guess there's that. But like, yeah. I don't know where I was going with this. I have other stuff to talk about. I think I just wanted to make that one joke. Okay, so remember how I said earlier about the man upstairs? Well, in this movie, like I said before, it is revealed that the whole story that we were watching is like a kid in his basement playing with Legos, and he has like this huge setup where there are Lego worlds everywhere, but it turns out this is actually a thing that his dad uses for his work. I don't know what job he has that requires him to make these really expansive like Lego cities and whatnot, and some of them being like medieval times themed or a Wild West theme. I don't know what kind of job this man has. But anyway, he's played by Will Ferrell in live action. Yes, this whole segment is like in live action, which was really cool. Seeing this in theaters as a kid like blew my mind, because I was just like, whoa, this entire thing was a kid's imagination, and like now it's like a new it's live action now? Like, whoa, that is insane. Yeah, it blew my mind, and honestly now I still think it's pretty cool. Like, yeah, that's neat. And so yeah, the dad is played by Will Ferrell, and he's like, I guess, the man upstairs. And like Will Ferrell also voices like Lord Business in the Lego world that I guess the kid has made up. So, you know, Lord Business being the dad, like the bad guy, and his dad is played by, like, I guess what I'm saying is this kid has some daddy issues, I guess. But anyway, yeah, he says like, look, you can't play with all this stuff, you know, right? Like, this is like for me only, okay? And so he kind of feels like, you know, like sad that he can't like just have fun, or his dad won't let him have fun. So it's like one of those stories. But like the dad kind of realizes that he should let his son have fun when he sees like all the amazing stuff he's created, which goes with like something that I think I really like about this movie. It's like message about like, you know, creativity and whatnot, because like this movie is like not like, oh hey, you know, people who follow the instructions are dumb, you should only do what you want to do. And it's not like oh man, you can't be all willy-nilly with all the stuff you want to create. Follow instructions. It kind of has like a nice like middle ground to it, where it kind of like encourages just do whatever I think like just you like, you know, because both are good ways to play, you know, with like Legos, but I guess with anything, you know, right? It has like, it's like a nice happy medium where it encourages like, yeah, playing with the you know, with the instructions is good. Following instructions is good, because you can make amazing stuff with the right, you know, like instructions and like with the right work. And it also says like, hey, you can also like just have fun making your own crazy stuff inspired by like that kind of stuff. It's like, it's really nice, honestly. I like that a lot. Yeah. You know what's a really interesting fact about this ending, where like it's like in live action we see Will Ferrell and like this kid Finn, you know, it with like all this Lego stuff, like, you know, and revealing that this whole movie that we had seen was like just this his imagination, you know, him playing with his toys. It works so well for the story, and it's so hard to believe that like at one point they didn't even know if they could do this ending. And at first they thought it would have been too expensive, because like of all the Lego things that like that were in the movie, some of the parts were not officially made by Lego, so they would have to ask like the company Lego to make some like new things so that they could make the various creations that were in the final battle scene. And so they didn't know if they actually could, but they were all like, look, we really want this ending, so like let's just at least try it, and like you know, if it doesn't work, we got a backup idea, which was a lie. They did not have a backup idea. They were banking on this, but hey, it worked out, and yeah, we got a really good sequence, I think, and like, yeah, I like it a lot. Just like this whole like reveal, which is really amazing, is what I'm saying. It's like for all those people out there who play with Legos, you know, just enjoy Lego the way you want. And a fun fact, like a big reason that like Phil Lord and Chris Miller wanted to do this movie, like initially they were hesitant on directing it, because they, like a lot of other people, I guess, assumed that a Lego movie would not be a good idea at all, that it would just be one huge toy commercial. But then they were inspired by like what they saw like people do online with like the stop motion videos involving Lego, and then they came up with this sort of like concept of the movie, and they thought like, hey, maybe if we did it like this, and then they did do it like that, and it's like, yeah. And fun fact, there's even like in the scene where Emmett goes up and tries to offer like his hand to Lord Business, to kind of tell him like, hey, you know, you should stop all this, that you shouldn't be the bad guy. In the background you can see like stop motions done by like actual people with them using Legos and whatnot, just showing their creativity. And he goes like, look at all this stuff people have made, inspired by what you made. It's kind of like, it's like, that's really cool, man. Like, that's awesome. And that they incorporated that, and it's like, that's really, really, really cool. This movie just like is so good, like so much better than like I think it really needs to be. It's like, you know, like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't really see this for like the giant commercial that most people originally saw it as, you know, right? I saw it just like, oh, another fun animated movie based on a thing that I like, you know. That should be great. But other people, when they initially heard about this movie, they assumed that, oh, it would be a giant commercial, but were surprised when it was actually really good. And I think this movie is like the reason why in my head, whenever I see something and I go like, oh, that's a dumb idea, but maybe it could be good, I think this movie is the thing that kind of brings the idea in my head. Like, even when like in previous like videos where I say like, oh, Junior is like such a bad idea for a movie, but I still say something like, but maybe it could be good if you do it like in a specific way. I think this movie is the reason why I say that for movies. I go like, yeah, it's a dumb idea, but if it's done in a certain way, it could probably work, because yeah, this movie kind of showed me that any idea can probably work if you go about it the right way, or like in an interesting way. Sometimes I see a thing and I'm like kind of questioning if that's still true, but because of Lego Movie, the thought still occurs. I go like, it could probably work. So yeah, thank you for that, Lego Movie. Thank you. I guess like one more thing I could talk about with this movie is Everything is Awesome. Yeah, that song. Oh man, when this movie came out, everyone in my class was singing that, and like I'm sure the teachers and the parents were all super annoyed, but I don't care. This song is, you know, it's actually kind of stupid, but I think that's the point. That is kind of the point. And it's fun, you know, it's fun. Everything is awesome. Bow, bow, bow. Everything. I'm sure there's like a million other things I can talk about what makes the Lego Movie great, but I think that's just like the general stuff. And yeah, the Lego Movie it's awesome, man. I just think like, yeah, it's great. I love this movie so much. Rewatching it again, it made me feel like a kid again, honestly. Yeah, it made me feel like a kid just rewatching like this amazing movie, like thinking that like, wow, I think this like just blew my mind. I didn't know a movie could be like this, you know, right? This like fun, but also like inventive and creative, and just like it's just so great. And like it like, I swear, every time I rewatch this movie, I feel like a kid again. It makes me feel like, it reminds me of the times when like I used to play with Legos, you know. And fun fact about this movie, it actually got me to buy my first Lego set. Like, as a kid, I played with Legos like many other kids, but I never had any of like my own because like for a long time, because the price and whatnot. So most of my time playing with Legos was going to my cousin's house and playing with their big bin of Legos, or at this one doctor's office that like had Legos to play with. But after I saw this movie, I was just like, I want to get a Lego set, and so I forgot the price, but I'm sure it was like affordable enough because I bought it with my own money. And it was like a set of like Emmett being trapped on like the thing, you know, right? Where they try to remove the Craggle from him, you know, but then like Wildstyle comes in to save him. I had a set of that. It was like pretty small. It wasn't like too big or expensive, but I remember having so much fun with that. And I remember even trying to do like a stop motion with it, like trying to do a little video with it. And well, I don't think I have that anymore. And while I didn't really continue that idea of like buying more Lego sets and doing stop motions, I tried though, you know. And I feel like this movie made me want to try. And honestly, I think that in itself is really cool. That like, and I'm sure there are a bunch of other people who probably were inspired to do the same thing, but actually went further with it than I did. And that is really cool. This movie just man, it just inspires me, honestly. It really does. It is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's just everything about it it's awesome.